Last episode, we talked about bad movie remakes. But here's the thing. A movie doesn't have to be a remake to be bad. LaserTime user, the artist formerly known as Keeper13, also pointed out that Godzilla 98, while weak, actually has a pretty cool Godzilla design. So I guess good things actually can come out of bad movies sometimes. Some bad movies are the dregs of society. They undo all the progress we've made in fields like literature, comedy, and women's rights. But other bad movies have good spin-offs or lead to a future career.
Look out, it's in the cabinets. Toward the basement.
Warwick Davis is a pretty cool guy, so it's a shame that his most famous work might be Leprechaun. I mean, that series is so bad it has more than one entry on the 0% list on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's out of the crate.
On the bright side, the first Leprechaun movie introduced us to one Jennifer Aniston. She'd had television roles before this movie, but most of those shows ended up getting cancelled. Post-Leprechaun, she starred in classics like Friends and Bruce Almighty, and I don't think it was luck that got her there.
Whose luck may have just run out.
Well, that was unnecessarily ominous.
These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain.
I don't even know where to start with the original Reefer Madness from the 1930s. I mean, the whole thing is just incredibly inaccurate. Dude, what are you doing? You're wasting a lot of good weed. Hold that in longer. Anyway, this old-timey PSA is just full of inaccuracies.
Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide.
In fact, it's so ridiculous that when the 70s pothead crowd rediscovered the film, they considered it a satirical cult classic. This led to a hugely successful Broadway musical and a made-for-TV movie based off that. And your parents always told you that marijuana would never lead to anything.
They come from the bowels of hell, a transformed race of walking dead.
Much like Reefer Madness, it's hard to condense all the problems found in Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. The dialogue sucked, the actors were clearly reading from scripts on camera, and the Bela Lugosi stand-in looked nothing like the actual guy. A lot of the criticism circles back to one thing: Ed Wood's incompetency as a director.
Do you know anything about film production?
Well, I like to think so.
But of course, Ed Wood was also the topic of Tim Burton's biopic. It's probably one of his best movies, and one that most of you angsty teens probably haven't seen because it doesn't have what you're looking for.
Get me transvestites. I need transvestites.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jack Skellington, so...
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me.
Oh yes, we're gonna talk about Troll 2.
Oh my God!
The usual complaints about dialogue and bad acting are present here, plus the trolls look like Hans and Franz wearing cheap Halloween masks. This is all stuff we've heard before. What you might not have heard about is Best Worst Movie, a documentary that talks about the cult status of Troll 2. It's kind of a where are they now for the cast, except it's won a ton of awards. By the way, if you didn't notice before, you're about to hear something you'll never be able to unhear. There's a key change in that iconic scream.
Oh my God!
You're welcome, America.
2 deadly agents.
ID? A former FBI agent named Jeremiah X.
Sworn enemies.
Oh, did you think we were done? So sorry. X vs. Sever also hit the coveted 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And for good reason.
I told her it's because you just got beat up by a girl.
Roger Ebert gave it a scathing review, and it lost like $50 million at the box office. That's pretty bad for Zorro and Watson. But the craziest part of the X vs. Sever franchise, I guess, is the first-person shooter on Game Boy Advance. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's essentially a Doom clone, but this licensed Game Boy Advance game was a must-play title. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. The video game got way more praise than the movie. What's crazier is that development on the game began before production on the movie began, and the game released well ahead of the movie.
Is that the best you can do?
No.
Did you ever play X vs. Sever, Jean-Claude?
No!
Oh, easy, buddy. Just asking a question. Why don't you, take us out?
See you next time.